listening to WTIM, your information station, and our morning show brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment, I've got Tyler Frump. Tyler is a volunteer with the Taylorville Food Pantry. And Tyler, how are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well, and thank you for joining us here on the WTIM morning show.
I'm honored.
Well, replacing Amy, replacing Pam, big shoes to fill. Stepping in, that's right. Not replacing, not permanently.
Not replacing.
But it's great to have you here today, just to get a little bit of a different perspective even on the food pantry here.
Of course.
And I'd love to start with your background. Since we've got a new face, let's talk your background and a little bit about how long you've been with Taylorville Food Pantry and just what you're willing to share with us.
Absolutely. So I've been a volunteer for about 10 years. Back when I was in high school, a friend actually needed some assistance. So I drove her to the food pantry. And that's how I originally got started volunteering, was they were short-staffed. So I jumped in and helped out while my friend was giving her produce. But I think it's fantastic. Over the 10 years, Pam and Amy have truly stepped up and changed the game. It used to be that people would walk out with just a small box of food. That has completely changed. Everything is choice now, and the cart is completely full by the time you're leaving our food pantry. And they've almost done it at the exact same price that they did it before. But of course, costs are now rising, so things are changing for us over there.
Well, and big changes I'm sure you've seen in 10 years. And
absolutely.
To go from a box to a cart, to go from giving out fresh meat and produce to just there's been a lot of change, and some of that change has come in the last 6 months. Some of that we'll even get to talk about a little bit there. But a 10-year volunteer, have you seen just the waves of volunteers kind of come and go? And then we've got the one staple here with Tyler being 10 years down the hatch. Right?
I'm definitely not the only staple, but I definitely see them come and go. I'm always happy to see when kids are coming in and volunteering in their community. And of course, seeing them grow older and leaving for college is always a sad moment, but it's very nice to see that they have love for their community in their hearts and that they want to help their local communities. I think that's very important.
And I think some of it comes from other community organizations too, like the Taylorville FFA will sometimes step in, or Kiwanis or the USPS, or
the cheer team has been in several times.
So then we think about that and we go, all right, we need more of that even, but
absolutely.
For the community to come together for said Taylorville Food Pantry is a fantastic deal. And let's get into maybe last month's stats and kind of why we do this and why we're helping new families, and they're always cropping up. And the need is always there. So what was last month's stats looking like?
Now, July was a little bit down, but that's pretty expected for the summer months. I think they were around the 500 mark. But the reason we're talking August is, of course, the kids. They're registering for school. Our parents, they don't have as much money because they got to spend that money for school supplies. So they're showing up short at the kitchen table. So that's when they're supplementing the Taylorville Food Pantry. So August will be one of our largest months. Of course, other than November would be our other largest due to Thanksgiving and Christmas time.
So, and I think too, summer months wise, you also have the school meals coming out of that. And we've talked about that a time or two as well, where all of a sudden that consistency is gone for about 3 months. And so stepping up to that, to be able to take care of that is a big deal in that regard there. New family wise, does that surprise you ever when it's 50 plus families some months and you just go, wow, what's out there?
I think it depends. I'm so glad to see that our community is changing and that more people are wanting to move here. But it is devastating to see that so many families need the assistance. Everybody is struggling right now. So I'm glad that we can at least be some supplemental food until that next paycheck hits the account and they can buy what they really want.
And we go from a box to a cart. We go from, hey, this is what you get, to choice. This makes a big difference. And this makes it to where people feel more comfortable coming in. All of a sudden, it's more like a grocery store experience.
Yep.
some of that comes from the produce that we're able to give away. Now, I don't know if our focus today is on bringing produce in because we got too many cherry tomatoes out in the garden. I assume it probably is, but also letting folks know that we do have some fresh produce. So what do we want to talk about produce-wise?
Yes, so we're actually looking for donations of fresh produce. So, of course, we have partnered with local businesses for those food rescue programs. But as time is going on, produce is becoming less and less available. So, we're actually looking for people who have their own gardens that maybe aren't using all of their produce and are ready to send that down the road and help out, your neighbor in need. It can be truly anything: tomatoes, peppers, broccoli, could be fruits, even peaches, apples, whatever you're growing, we'll take it as a donation.
And no limit there probably either. It's like, hey, if you've got the extra, and so many people have extra right now, and you see neighbors just leaving a bag on their neighbor's doorstep, and you just kind of wonder sometime if that neighbor is actually as happy about getting said bag of produce as you might think. And so really instead, maybe try and take it elsewhere. I know there's some community gardens as well. I think Nokomis even has one. Does some of that make its way over to the food pantry?
Yes, the Taylorville Community Garden, we have a very strong relationship with. We get donations from them all the time, but we would love to get the other community gardens nearby because I'm pretty sure Pena has one as well, but don't quote me on that.
And don't quote me either. So we'll leave it there. But yes, I think community garden wise, especially, that should be one of the big focuses in my humble estimation, my humble opinion. That should be one of those focuses. Let's get it to the right hands. And when it comes to the Taylorville Food Pantry, it's not just produce though. Right now, we've talked freezers and we've talked adding those, but you guys continue to, almost, it feels like, and this grocery store experience has changed the game. Meat wise, that was another thing we wanted to focus on because of the variety too that we have.
Absolutely. So since we switched to choice and we got those fantastic new freezers, meat picking has been much easier. It used to be that you would just get a sack and you just had to live with whatever was inside of the sack. So I'm glad that people now get the choice. But of course, since they get the choice, certain things will go versus others, like veggie burgers. They stay around a little bit longer. So we're looking for some donations of meat. This is perfect for hunters because we even take deer meat as long as it is processed by a plant that is federally regulated. So, I mean, we can take donations of any kinds, but meat we're looking forward to a USDA cutback.
Okay, so and that's something that on a federal level it does start to trickle down.
Yeah, unfortunately,
and then at a state level it trickles down locally. These things happen, and that is a bit of a concern, especially when you want to keep those freezers absolutely packed to the gills, if at all possible. Donations wise, is there another way? Say I've just got a couple frozen rolls that I'm never going to get to. Are we willing to just take some things out of the freezer even?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as it is still sealed, completely fine. Bring it in for a donation. We can pass it back out to somebody who is hungry.
Sealed and probably that Best By date is probably still a thing.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. As long as it's within a year, we're probably okay. Thank God for freezers.
Yes, those do change the game a little bit. When you can freeze bread and milk, I've seen a lot of things go in the freezer these days. So when it comes to the meat, though, this hasn't always been the case for you. So
no,
what has been the, let's call it, community response to this? To this, just having this, have you heard some people just kind of ooh and ah about the fact that they can come in and get these cuts of meat?
Yes, absolutely. Lots of comments have come in from patriots the last several months since we've had the new freezers, and they're happy that they get to pick again, because some people, they're not pork people, so they want beef and etc. So it's nice for them. They really like it. But again, as we're getting cuts, and of course people are picking out what they want, some things are going a little bit faster than others, especially the beef.
I can imagine. Just a pound of ground beef can all of a sudden make its way into spaghetti. That's that night's dinner, and that could be leftovers too for lunch the next day. So at least it is for a single guy over here. That's for certain. But when it comes to your 10 years, obviously you've seen some of this change, a lot of this change take place. Is this all just kind of in your mind, like, hey, this is making the volunteer experience better, the customer experience better? Is this just across the board? Is this just a better experience 10 years later?
I truly think it is. Our food pantry has grown exponentially. I think the choice factor is something that a lot of food pantries aren't able to offer because they don't have enough volunteers. And I am so grateful that we're able to do that. I'm currently on the front. When people come in, I'm the one that's on the computer. I take down the information. So I'm not the one that is helping doing the shopping. But I know sometimes that some of the volunteers afterwards will come over very emotional, and say that, it's sometimes really hard for people to ask for help. And so you kind of break down when you receive help, and it's with a smile, it's with love, it's with care. I think that's what's different about our food pantry, is that we truly care about our community, and you can feel the love that we're providing while we're providing the service to you as soon as you enter the door, and as soon as you've left it as well.
I'm sure it feels good for you. I think anybody enjoys good, kind comments, and also just to see the impact. Sometimes that is all you need. Sometimes It's not even the words. It's sometimes just seeing it for yourself. And so that makes the volunteer experience that much better. I figured, but just hearing it from you, I've got you here. I might as well let you tell me about it. So we're joined by Tyler Frump. She is a volunteer with the Taylorville Food Pantry. We'll come back around in our second segment, and we'll talk more about Taylorville Food Pantry and the good things going on over there. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
Your information station. WTIM.
Digital marketing has its place, but across rural America, there's still one medium that farmers and ranchers consistently rely on: ag radio. Farm broadcasters reach agricultural producers where cellular service drops and internet connections fail. When farmers are making critical decisions in the field, they're listening to farm broadcasters they've trusted for years. Consider this: the average farmer spends 5 to 6 hours daily in equipment where radio is their primary companion. That's why ag radio offers agricultural advertisers unparalleled access to decision makers exactly when they're thinking about their operations. Farm broadcasters don't just deliver your message, they enhance it with credibility built through years of providing accurate weather forecast, market updates, agricultural news. National Association of Farm Broadcasting research reveals that messages delivered by trusted farm broadcasters result in 30% higher brand recall and significantly improved conversion rates compared to digital agricultural advertising. Ready to reach farmers where digital can't? Visit IllinoisFarmRadio.com and put the power of ag radio to work for your brand.
St. Louis Cardinals baseball. Over the years, it has meant the Gas House Gang, Stan the Man, Lou Brock, Bob Gibson, the Wizard, Big Mac, Yachty, Waino, and Pujols. All those names, and they provided so many memories. St. Louis Cardinals baseball, most importantly, has meant championship baseball. We'll be describing every play right here on the Cardinals Radio Network, powered by Gray Bar.
Cardinal Baseball, heard on WTIM, your information station. The Big 870 across central Illinois, 96.1 FM in Christian County, 107.5 FM in Shelby County, and 107.9 in the Pena-Nokomis area. It's brought to you by Taylorville Community Eye Care, Sloan Implement, Rural Rentals, Specialized Hearing Solutions, and CNB Bank.
Cardinals Baseball on 96.1 in Christian County, WTIM.
Find out all the great things happening in the Pena area on the WTIM Pena Morning Show, Tuesdays from 8:40 till 10. You'll hear interviews with Pena area community, nonprofit, and business leaders each week. The WTIM Pena Morning Show is brought to you by these sponsors:
Pena Save-A-Lot, Pizza Man, Noren's Hardware, Bob Riding's Pena, your Nokomis Dairy Queen, Pena Bowl, and Okanee Chop Shop.
Central Illinois Truck Service is growing thanks to you. Owner Perry Stanfa here. Our new service manager, Jeremy Peters, and our certified technicians will keep your semi-truck engine rolling. Click my icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Make this school year their strongest yet. Book your child's back to school or sports physical today at SIU Center for Family Medicine in Taylorville. Keep them healthy, focused, and ready for success. Find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show here on your information station. We're brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment is a volunteer with the Taylorville Food Pantry and a 10-year veteran at that, Tyler Frump. We talked a little bit about her background, last month's stats, produce and meat, and the need always for volunteers and donations when it comes to those two things. We kind of want to start here with transportation. I brought this up to you, so I apologize. I'm the one kind of getting us here to this one. Saturday, driving down East Main Cross, and I see folks carrying bags, and it takes me a second, and I have to think, okay, why? What's going on? What's going on with the Aldi bags and the Kroger bags? And then I drove just a little further, and I realized what was going on. And I want to talk about transportation options, some that might be available, and some ways that we might be able to bolster that. What does transportation to the Taylorville Food Pantry on a Saturday or on a Thursday, whatever the case might be, what does that kind of look like?
Well, unfortunately, we don't have too much of a transportation program. We don't quite have enough volunteers for that. So normally it is left up to the patrons themselves, kind of helping your neighbor out. However, a couple volunteers recently have stepped up to the plate and taken some people who are further out. We also know of two other helpers. I know the senior citizens here in Christian County, they will help with transportation as long as it is in advance. And then we've had a couple other helpers. So the Taylorville Police Department is our very last resort if that's what it comes to. And then there are some other volunteers who have really wanted to organize something but haven't gotten to it yet. So if anybody has a car and isn't busy on Saturdays 8:30 to 9:30, Thursday 5:30 to 7, or Tuesday 8:30 to 10, we'd love to have you at the food pantry. Even if you don't have a vehicle, we could always put you somewhere else as well. There is always volunteer experience, but we want to help people get home with their produce as well.
Because, and I actually, until you said that, I didn't even think about that really. So I was thinking about them going there with the empty bags, but what about coming on back?
Yeah.
That part is something that I would love to see something come about with that. But I also understand we've got to have the staffing there to get the people their food. Trust me, there is no doubt of lack of understanding here. It's just, man, when I saw that, I just went, let's figure this out if we can. So hopefully we get some additional volunteers. Hopefully we get some additional donations and we can start expanding those services.
We'd love to.
Volunteer wise, being a 10-year volunteer, you know then how many different slots and places we can put you.
Yes.
What are some of those slots and places that we could put people?
Yes. So there's a lot of filler jobs that a lot of people do not consider that actually, if you don't want to interact with the public, you absolutely do not have to. So back in the back, there is a section where we go through the fresh produce, pull the bad stuff, wash up the good stuff, and take it out and set it up. So that is a super easy job. You can even sit down if you need to, if you have some complications with health. So even if that's an issue, you can still volunteer at the food pantry. If you're wanting to interact with the customers themselves, we are still desperately looking for shoppers. Those are the people that take you around the store and help you pick out all of your choices. That one is always fantastic and it is a feel good on the heart. And then of course there are stalkers as well. So sometimes while we're going through, some produce or some cans will go quickly. Everybody really likes that product. So somebody has to go in the back, find our extra stuff, bring it out and set it up. So there's a lot of filler jobs that a lot of people aren't seeing, but they're there. And you don't have to interact with customers if that's not what your vibe is.
And if it's not, and there are plenty of people that it's not, then there is still a way to help. And
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I even think about a Walmart. There are plenty of stalkers that they've got headphones in and you will never hear that person's voice. You will never know what they are or who they are. So that is an opportunity and an option for you. Well, Tyler, we are just about out of time, but thank you for joining us here today to talk Taylorville Food Pantry.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Maybe we'll get to see you. Well, I know Amy and I know Pam. That might be a tough go, but Tyler in her first bout here, fantastic stuff. Tyler, again, thank you. Tyler Frump, volunteer with the with the Taylorville Food Pantry here on the WTIM Morning Show, brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville.
Your information station, WTIM.